Over, we are jumping on to mat 1 here, and we have the athletes getting onto the mat, and we have David Robles and Vitor Paschoal. And here we go. And they both have a double guard pull. And we can see, I think, I do remember Robles from the American Cup, and it looks like Paschoal's going to look for the Berimbolo attack, and he gets a hook in. And Paschoal is going to come up. He's going to come up on the leg drag here. It looks like he's trying to drag the leg. He does have a hook in, though. He might be able to pull off like a...
I mean, there goes a twister.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the technique.
Well, he might know it, but I don't think you could pull it off anyway. It's illegal in the
yeah, there's ways you can use a twister to your advantage to gain points for this scoring system.
And let's see if he comes up on the
Those
pass
things
here.
may be shown at the Big Guy Seminar.
And he's still got a hook in. It could be difficult for him on bottom with the blue gi to come up. I think he's going to go more for the back take. And you can see David Robles is trying to get his back on the mat, right. Which is kind of the defense to getting your back take. And he may give up the mounted position, but he'll be in a little bit better of a spot.
If Paschoal can get a lockdown on that far leg, which he should, and there it goes. He had opportunity.
Oh, he almost got it. And he got the hook, and he's got the collar.
He doesn't have the other hook in. I don't know if they're going to call that a hook. He's got to have it inside the crease of the thigh. It can't be across the body. It becomes a figure 4 position. He's got to get that hook in. Now he's got to get both hooks in.
Yeah.
So he's going to get an advantage, but he won't get crossing the legs, which is a no-no.
You can't get points. So in this position, you will not get points if your feet are crossed. And you can see that David Robles has probably identified that. He's pushing in on the knee, but he's not uncrossing the feet. Vitor has a nice collar grip on his right side.
Look what Robles is going to try to step his left leg over the top of Vitor's crossed legs. He's trying to cross him for him now. And he's got his 4 points for putting the hooks in.
Vitor went to the body lock, and it's not a super tight body lock given the position that they're in, because Vitor's kind of still off on the side. He looks like he may be trying to set up a bow and arrow choke. You see he's got
a collar. He definitely can pull it off.
Oh, he's in lots of trouble now.
Yeah, David Robles is in some trouble here with this choking position.
He's just getting it tighter. He's feeding it tighter and tighter and tighter. What Robles has going for him is if he can do an emergency grip break, Paschoal is not in a good position to follow up with the arm lock. At the very most, he'll end up on top with the scramble.
Yeah, and we can see Paschoal they're doing some hand fighting here, but he's still got that right hand grip on Robles' collar, and he's been using that.
Here comes the arm lock set up right here.
And that's a tight choke. That's a very tight choke. And let's see if Vitor grabs the pant leg or if he just continues on the choke.
He's kind of almost got an Ezekiel set up with the collar.
Yeah, and Robles is trying to defend this situation, and he looks like he did.
There goes the arm lock setup.
And Vitor went to the arm lock, and now Robles is stuck in the arm lock position here. Pretty tough when a guy is doing combination attacks on you in this type of situation, right?
He set this arm lock like three moves ago.
It's mentally draining as well to be in from one danger to another.
Yeah, you're jumping out of the frying pan into the boiling pot, right? Something like that, right?
Something like that.
You're jumping out of the deep fryer into the hamburger grinder.
The downside to Paschoal's attacks is that his opponent is physically larger than him. Yeah, and he's having a hard time maintaining any kind of top position on him. He's very unstable on top.
Yeah, and Paschoal's up by 8 points, so he can afford it now to kind of slow the pace down, be a little bit more deliberate in his approach.
But like you said, the sooner you can get this guy out of your way, the fresher you're going to be for that match down the road that's going to get you the $1,000.
And Robles does escape from the mount into the half guard. And I think Paschoal at this point is content to not do anything too crazy. He's got an 8-point lead. Robles is going to have to really try to pull something off, perhaps get a sweep, pass guard and get a mount. That's basically how he's going to be able to make those points back. It's going to be really difficult any other way to get 8 points unless he gets a submission. And it's pretty hard to submit somebody when you're on bottom in this particular position.
Yeah. He's got an ankle.
Leg locks, yeah. I mean, is there a potential for a leg lock? You see he gave up the guard pass, and it looks like the score is going to be 11-0. And Andre Gladzinski gives him points.
Like we talked about the psychology of this match, somebody's already was the winner from the beginning of this match, whether you realize it or not. And it looks like this gentleman on bottom is just mentally defeated. He could, there's also those little small moments in a match where something turns and it boosts your morale and you're back in the game mentally. Whether he can do that or not, with enough time to make a comeback is pretty much his decision.
Yeah, you could see Robles is trying to push Vitor Paschoal's head, maybe in a hope to. It looks like he may try to set up some kind of choke. You almost have to get into that area where you're trying to pull off submissions that are unorthodox and they're not, normal things you would go for. We see Robles is on top. He just took a peek at the clock. He's got about 5 minutes left, just a little under 5 minutes left, and he's down.
David is down. He needs something big to happen.
Robles looks like he's trying to feed like an in-guard choke, maybe an Ezekiel.
He's down by 11 points. At this point, he's going to have to pull something out, kind of a little bit out of the ordinary in order to walk away.
This is kind of like a rhythm breaker, too. Just as Robles is starting to get a rhythm, they go out of bounds and they're told to reset and fix their gis.
Now, if you're tired, you take extra time tying your belt as much as you possibly can.
There's just a million mental games that are going on here, too. I was talking about that with somebody else who's close to the refereeing game. And, there's margin for some tomfoolery with referees if they were, unbiased. Referees here, and by and large with IBJJF, I've seen pretty professional refereeing. People able to be unbiased, maybe even going a little bit harder on their own guys because they don't discriminate and say, oh, you can't referee this match because you're from their school. They do it anyways, and they expect a certain level of professionalism. But there are ways that referees can really be unethical. Breaking the match so they can fix gis and they're close to out of bounds, just to break an opponent's rhythm.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's what's going on here.
Absolutely not.
But you're right, that does happen. It's a little bit of a mental victory for Robles just to be able to, one, survive the match, and two, start putting some points on the board.
Right.
It does give you a little bit of all right, I'm making some progress, right? I'm getting a little bit better. We saw him at the American Cup. I think he got submitted twice. This is the black belt division. These guys are fantastic, man. You can't make any mistakes. And I think he's got to feel good about the fact that at least he's on top. He's put a couple points on the board, and he's surviving.
So we're talking about earlier with the kids, how they're posturing in the guard and trying to stand up in guard. And the difference, you'll see with the black belts. And it looks very close to what the kids were doing, the way Robles is trying to posture up. But you see what he's doing. He knows he's so far behind, and he may not have enough time to make up that point deficit. So he's trying to look to come up with a poor posture and bait his opponent into a choke.
Yeah.
He's trying to choke him from inside his guard, which is really hard to do. But right now it's his only option. He may not feel like he can pull off a leg lock. If he pulls off a leg lock and it goes bad, he can just end up on bottom with even more of a deficit.
But if you have a good leg lock game and you're down, it's a nice submission to go if you can't pass somebody's guard.
And then it comes to the point of, do you know yourself and you know your opponent well enough? And so he may not feel like he can do that.
And he is going for that in guard choke. You see he opened up the gi and he's feeding it behind the collar of his opponent.
Which you rarely see this one happening, but you never know.
You got to go for it in this kind of situation.
He almost had it.
You don't have much to lose. And Vitor has really played a conservative game. Once he kind of got that 8-point margin, you could see he kind of slowed down his pace. He slowed down his attack.
If it's a guaranteed win, why would you exert yourself any further just to get more tired?
Yeah.
It's for the bigger picture, right? Which is becoming a smarter black belt. You look at the big picture, not the little toy that's in front of you.
Yeah, and it looks like Vitor is still attacking. David Robles had Vitor's arm pinned behind his back, and we can see Vitor freed that up. There's about 2 minutes left. Vitor is on bottom. He's ahead 13-2 at this point. David Robles from Lotus Club, Southern Oregon, is on top. And he's really kind of been in this guard position for a little while now. He's trying to get a pass, trying to get some more points on the board, but he's having a difficult time at this point in the match. And there he tries to step over.
There goes a footlock attempt.
And Paschoal looks like he threw up a triangle attempt, but I think Robles has his arms. He has one arm in. It looks like he's got both arms in at this point, actually.
Robles is desperate right here. He needs a miracle.
Yeah, that's a tough spot that they're in. Very tough spot to be in. Down on points, a couple minutes left. You got a game opponent you're coming up against. It could be really difficult.
And you got Cachino looking really good right now, sitting there licking his chops.
Yeah, Cachino's only spent 1 minute on the mat, and he's going to go up against the winner of this division. So we're going to see Cachino potentially against Vitor Paschoal if he could hold on for the win for the Black Belt Pro under 181 division.
Rubber guard control.
It's about a minute left. You know, it's one thing to talk about and to watch, and it's a whole nother experience to be in there and be under that pressure and feel what the opponent's doing. Sometimes you see grips, you see things like, hey, you should do this, you should do that, but you're not really feeling what they're feeling. You know, Matt, what do you think is going through David Robles' head right now?
Well, I think it's going to David's head right now. He's thinking, this really sucks. It's not going my way tonight. That's what he's thinking right now.
Yeah.
Everything I've done has not worked. I'm barely hanging on here, and I'm in a world of trouble.
And I think survival, probably to finish out the clock without getting submitted, is
a moral victory.
It's a moral victory at this point.
It's better than getting submitted, I would say.
Yeah, and Vitor is still, he's hunting for submissions.
And he may get it. He may get it.
There's about 10 seconds left, and it looks like Vitor's going to hold on.
You know, and that's the way to go out, too. You know, like David Robles, hats off to him. He stepped in with a really game opponent. He didn't get tapped out. And then Paschoal, he wasn't happy with the 13-2 margin. He was going for the kill the whole time.
Yeah. Ernest, what did Paschoal do right?
Paschoal did everything right. He was smart. I mean, he looks like he studied. I mean, I don't know how much he studied his opponent, but he did his homework for sure. He knew his game. He went in there mentally confident. One person took a step back, one person took a step forward, and he owned the pace of this match from the beginning, from the time they slapped hands and looked at each other. You know, everything. His mental game was on, and that's what we saw from Kashino. Kashino's mental game is on. I'm excited to see these guys meet up.
Yep.